𝗙𝗶𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗲, good evening everyone, and welcome to my regular Freeport Facebook Live. I do apologise for starting a little bit late. It's my absolute pleasure. We've got a fantastic guest here today, Ian Davies, who's the head of the UK Port Authority at Stena Line. But I just wanted to give a bit of an update on my weekend and also my week, and to thank a few people. I'd like to thank Gwyn and the team at the Stag Inn in 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗲 for a great quiz night last week and a great curry. John, the quiz was really tricky. I teamed up with the 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗲 swimmers, Tonya, Sarah, Louise Berman, and several others, and also David Williams, the harbour master. But it was really tricky. It was nice to catch up with everybody, including Julie Clements, who is arranging the fantastic 𝗙𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗲 Carnival in August. I also caught up with the 𝗙𝗃𝗃𝗲𝗃 Golf Club. I caught up with Andy there, and also one of my friends, James True, at the Tricassic Hotel. And then on Friday I had a surgery. Thank you to the WI in 𝗙𝗃𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗃 who enabled me to host that surgery. And then here in Westminster, I had a brilliant day at number 10 yesterday. Poppy Roberts and her mum Emma came up to Westminster here. There was a special event with the to celebrate community champions, and the minister speaking at the event is Stuart Andrew, who many of you know, who's born on Anglesey, and it was great to for Poppy to celebrate all of the fundraising that she does for Guido's Gift and also 3D families on Anglesey. And then yesterday I spoke in DWP questions, and I celebrated the fantastic Tony Potter and the DWP team we have here on Anglesey, and the fact that we've got an over 50s event coming up in the Holyhead Town Hall on the 29th of June. And then just a bit of a heads up, we've got my cost of living events in Amlwch on the 20th of May. But I'd love to hand over to Ian Davies, who was born in Fishguard. Ian, that's correct, you're a Welshman?
Yeah, please don't hold that against me. I'm a South Walian.
Ah, fantastic. And you've lived in North Wales for many years, and you're a school governor, and you're a Fishguard lifeboat. You're on the Fishguard lifeboat crew for the last 22 years. That's really impressive, Ian.
Yeah, I'm a seafarer by background, so I'm a third generation of seafarer. And when I moved into the shore side of the industry, I wanted to keep my maritime links going. So being a volunteer, really enjoy it. Great bunch of lads and ladies down on the lifeboat station in Fishguard. That's
really good to hear, Ian. And although your Welsh is a little bit rusty, you're saying all three of your boys have got Welsh as the first language, so that's fantastic to hear. And then your next challenge is to do the Fishguard triathlon, correct?
That's correct, yeah. As I got older, I like to try and push myself in slightly different directions. So last year I did the Cardiff Half. This year I thought I'd up the game, and we're going to try the Fishguard Sprint Triathlon, the Wales Triathlon in Fishguard in June. So
we'll off swimming next.
Diolch.
Really good luck with that. Right, so this is all about talking about Anglesey and being a Freeport. I've been campaigning for Anglesey to have Freeport status for over 3 years now. I'm absolutely delighted that we have Freeport status, and it's been a real team effort working with Stena Line, with the council and Welsh Government, and of course here in Westminster. But the most exciting part now is to, how we can make sure that this Anglesey Freeport is a success, and we really want to make sure that we've got good quality employment for everybody on the island, particularly in the wake of Two Sisters closing in 𝗙𝗃𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗃. So how do you see the next steps, Ian, in terms of when I walk around the island, people are sort of saying to me, when are the jobs going to appear? When are these companies going to all start investing? So perhaps you could talk a little bit about the actual process.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. I suppose for myself, there's the Freeport, and as Virginia said, fantastic news, a lot of hard work by Virginia, by everyone involved, a real team effort, and a real honour to have the Prime Minister and the First Minister come up to Holyhead, not come down to South Wales, to make that announcement in Anglesey. So really delighted for the community and what hopefully will mean to the community going forwards. Although we've been awarded Freeport status, the next stage for all participants in this process is we have to have what's called an outline business plan. And that will take roughly 4 to 6 months. And that process we are starting to work on now with Anglesey County Council. That gets submitted. and it really puts in the details. So when you do the submission to apply for Freeport status, you're very restricted on the words, but you have to broadly outline what you want to do and how you're going to put this investment. This is now the details. So it's the detailed phase next that's going to go on. Also, we're talking to other interested parties who are supporting us in this writing process. So that's with my Freeport hat on. I'm also kind of dual hats currently anyway for the time being, as some people will know that Stena Line acquired the old Anglesey aluminium site some 6 months ago. And that site is one of the sites that is designated tax and customs sites. So within the Freeport bid, there's Holyhead Port, there's the Anglesey aluminium site. And then on the other side of the A55 is 𝗙𝗏𝗃𝗲𝗽𝗍, which is owned by Welsh Government and a company called 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗃𝗲𝗽. Then another site is the 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗃 site in the middle of the island. And then there's the 𝗙𝗏𝗃𝗲𝗃 site up to the north. So whereas we have a vested interest in it, there are other participants and other landowners and site owners within this bid. So as the site owner for Anglesey aluminium site, really interesting site. I suppose it's a crying shame that it's been dormant for 10 years. I know there have been other developments, but we see huge potential in this site. My owner sees huge potential in the site. So the next phase for that is we are gathering all the environmental information, because obviously it's an ex-industrial site. So we are now working our way towards creating a master plan for that site, but also at the same time, we are working on plans to start demolishing and clearing the site in preparation for development, because when we're talking to other investors about coming to the site, they want to see a clean site so they're ready to hit the ground running. So I should imagine in the next period, hopefully we'll start seeing demolishing on that site taking place.
Excellent. No, thank you, Ian. And we've got lots of questions coming. We've had lots of questions emailed through, and I'd like to say 𝗙𝗏𝗃𝗲𝗽𝗍, good evening to Ellen Jones, and good afternoon to Bogdan, to Bogdan. So please do keep the questions coming through. Now, Ian, if somebody on the island or a company is looking to invest in the Anglesey being a Freeport, who do they contact?
Okay, currently there's a page, there's a web page all about the Freeport. And the next phase of that, there will be some links to the individual sites. So the Freeport is kind of a framework, is an umbrella of governance to make sure that the Freeport is operated correctly. But then within the Freeport, there are individual sites, individual commercial concerns, and those that will be the points of contact to look to invest in those particular sites. And the web page will be populated with the point of contact for that. As it currently stands, I have a colleague within Stena called Patrick Hughes. Patrick Hughes will be the point of contact. He's an estates development manager at Stena, and he will be a point of contact for that particular site.
And these four sites, although those are the four sort of tax and custom sites, essentially, it'll be the whole island that will benefit from Freeport status.
Absolutely. So it's geographically, it's the island of Ireland, but also we think that the benefits will spread along the A55, potentially beyond Anglesey. But yeah, it's the whole island of Ireland.
The whole island, and yeah, in terms of supply chain, and the whole of North Wales will benefit. So what sort of companies would you expect to be investing in Anglesey? And what does this mean for not only our young people, but other people that are looking to upskill and take advantage of it? What sort of companies and what sort of jobs should we be looking at?
The framework in which we're trying to kind of set is an open framework. Each individual site has its merits and advantages. For example, the Anglesey aluminium site has a railhead connection, which leads to certain kinds of industry. It also has a huge power connection to the grid, which has its advantages. The 𝗙𝗏𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗲 site has other advantages. Obviously, 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗲𝗃𝗲𝗃 is linked to Bangor University. So each site has its merits, and it will attract its own individual ones. Obviously, the other advantage of the Anglesey aluminium site, wearing my Stena hat on, is the site is linked by a 2-kilometre tunnel to the port. So one of the things we are very keen for with the Anglesey aluminium site is that some people investing there will use the port. We want to see more growth through using Holyhead Port. Why? Because it's a key part of our business, but also we don't want to put more traffic on the roads. We want goods to be passed through the port, which is better for the local community as well.
Excellent. And then in terms of some questions have come through that why is the whole of Wales not a free port? We've got the Celtic free port. I had a meeting with them last week. I know you've been meeting with them as well, and they're very much focused on floating offshore wind. So why can't the whole of Wales be a free port?
Well, the whole thing about free ports is really to kind of focus investment into particular regions, and I suppose unfortunately Anglesey finds itself where we've lost a lot of jobs over the last 10 years, and those jobs really haven't been replaced. You know, if you look back, Anglesey aluminium sites, the nuclear power station, and unfortunately, you know, the two sister sites, which is just another blow to the island. So from a government point of view, the government recognises that certain regions really need that focus to attract industries. Certain parts of Wales are in the enviable position, places like Cardiff and regions down south. They have plenty of people. They have the advantages of government, local government, and the M4 and so on and so forth. So this is really focusing. And if you look at free ports, whereas the sites are quite big in the overall picture of Wales, they are very focused and relatively small in that sense. So it's the focus investment where most needed.
Excellent. And then I think it's important to highlight that these will be good quality jobs with average salaries. The companies I've been taking around the island and all of the companies that gave endorsement letters to help our bid, the average salaries of these companies combined is more than double that of the average salary on the island. So we're really looking to increase the salaries, and these will be really, really good jobs, not only for young people but for older people as well. And it's also important to highlight that these are companies that want to invest on Anglesey because we have free port status. We're not taking investment from the rest of Wales, but we will be taking investment from the whole of the world. One of the questions that has come through is in terms of the cruise ships coming through, and obviously you've got the harbour there and the port, and you've got control of the cruise berth, and we've had quite a lot of cruises coming in, and we've got I think it's around 50,000 people coming in. And how can we ensure that they are actually spending their money in Holyhead and on the island, rather than just going off and going to see Carnarvon Castle?
Yeah, so just touching on the point of cruise, historically Stena Line Port owned the jetty in Holyhead, but it was leased back in the 1970s to Anglesey Aluminium. So whereas we've owned the asset, we've never been able to control the asset and use the asset. And with the demise of the previous occupier on the Anglesey aluminium site, as a company, we decided to take back control of that site because the jetty is an undervalued asset. So we are now in a far better position to attract cruise companies, whereas 2 or 3 years ago, they were going out to bay and we were shutting people in. Now we can offer a better experience. We can get those cruise customers alongside, and people kind of have to perhaps understand, or a little bit of background knowledge, how the cruise companies work. Their model is based on the fact that they want income streams to pay for their port calls, and they do that by selling the packages, and those packages will be on the island or along the North Wales coast. But generally those packages are for half a day. So cruise ships generally come in 7 in the morning, sail 7 in the evening. They will do a half day somewhere in the region. But what's crucial is we have a fantastic offer in Holyhead, and we have the ability, and we want to get that footfall. When they have their afternoon spare, they want to get into the town, into the community, meet the local people, sample the local cafes, walk around and get a bit of the local culture. So that's the real opportunity, is to make that offering where people will just walk into town and take in what it is to see. The packages are one part. And so to facilitate that, we put on buses, shuttle buses, back and forth to the port entrance, which then allows people to walk across the Millennium Bridge and into town.
But and importantly, and we want them to spend their money in Holyhead, so we want to really make sure they spend their money and then get back on those cruise ships. So we've got the Bull Bay Golf Club. Good evening, 𝗙𝗏𝗲𝗽𝗏. Hopefully that might be Andy Knight and the team there. And he says exciting times, with a lovely smiley face there. We've got something from Make It Your Business. So excited about Holyhead regeneration. We have the £17 million levelling up fund. Very exciting times, and really all of the projects working together, whether that's the Breakwater Park that we've got Will Stewart, the fantastic ranger there, and having a tourism centre, investment in the 𝗙𝗲𝗲𝗲𝗲 Centre and in St Cubby's and in the Play Centre as well. But this question relates to where will the chimney go when you redevelop the
It's really interesting as people, there is the when you're going to knock the chimney down camp, and are you going to keep the chimney camp? As yet, we don't have a plan for the chimney. It will more than likely come down at some point because it has no value, and of course it has quite a big shadow. It's 40 odd years old. The asbestos has been taken off. It's been stripped and turned. So now what's all left is the concrete structure. When it'll be part of our plans, when we clear the site, then probably that chimney will be coming down, because we want to maximise that site for future development.
And then also in terms of the future development of Holyhead, we had a really exciting announcement in the Chancellor's budget, didn't we, in March, the £20 million for the refurbishment of the breakwater from the UK government. And that's really important in terms of securing the longevity of the port and protecting Holyhead as a town. So can you give us some ideas of the timescale, the discussions you've had with Welsh Government and with the UK government in terms of when we'll actually see this investment and the regeneration of this, what is quite a phenomenal piece of architecture, the breakwater?
Yeah, yes, it is. Just to put, we are truly grateful for the participation from the UK government and the Welsh Government, hopefully, when we get the funding. It's a huge engineering project. The project is probably in the region of 110 million. So 20 million is fantastic, but the majority of the burden of this will fall on Stena Line, which we accept. Obviously, the breakwater has an integral part. It doesn't add us investing the balance, the 60 to 80 million, will not add any value to Stena Line per se. But what it does do, as you rightly said, Virginia, is it ensures the longevity and protection of the harbour and the town of Holyhead. So just to put it into that context, why it's important for us as a harbour, because we are looking at other investments. We are looking to expand the port. The plans are in the public domain. They've passed through. We've been going through this for the last 3 years. And for us to take that investment and to attract new companies and businesses to use that expanded port, they need the breakwater to protect it. So it's really, really important that we have the breakwater. The next part of that process is once we have, obviously, the sums involved are huge, and we as a company and governments rightly so have a due diligence. We've done probably 2 years worth of due diligence with the Welsh Government. We will undertake a similar process with the UK government. Hopefully it won't take 2 years because we've done most of this with the Welsh Government. Once we have that, we already have the plans, we have the consents in place. The next part will be drawing up a tender, because then we will go to market. The tendering process normally takes around 4 months. Then we have to evaluate those tenders before we go to market to award the contract. So I'm thinking probably in the next 12 months, we'll be in a position to award that contract, but still quite a bit of work to do on that front.
So Ian, just to forewarn you, there's a campaign on Facebook, which is #KeepTheChimney, which is taking off. And also Sue Williams is saying the observation platform on the top of the chimney, why not? Great idea, Sue. And I'd like to say good evening to Dylan Hughes as well. I know in terms of the marina, Ian, we've got the 2 marinas there, and I know you leased the seabed. We've had the whole sort of storm situation, but is there much you can actually say about that?
Not really from our sense. Obviously, we lease the seabed. We have a statutory, when the storm destroyed the Breams Marina, as a statutory harbour, we undertook the cleanup operation because that's what we have to do. But other than that, we can't really. We're not in a position. We're not a marina owner operator. There is a lease on the seabed to a third party. And obviously we would like to see that development take place, but it's nothing really that we can facilitate in any way. It's up to the other parties to get involved in that now.
And then excellent question from Ellen Williams. Hopefully companies will invest in the Freeport regeneration. People of Anglesey are desperate for jobs, as it's now becoming a deprived place as jobs go. we have one of the lowest GVAs, gross value added, of any constituencies in the UK. And when the island elected me, I was determined to bring jobs and investment to Anglesey and to North Wales. My dad had to leave Wales to find work. My dad worked at 𝗙𝗲𝗲𝗽𝗲 as well, and I'm determined that not only our young people, but everybody on the island that wants to have a good quality job can have one on the island. And that's the best thing that we can do for our communities, is keeping them together, and also for the Welsh language. No jobs means no Welsh language. And when I went to see 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗲, I met up with a couple of people, a couple of apprentices. One was from the island and one was from 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗃𝗲, and they were 4, 5, 6 hours away from their families and their communities, because they were in search of good skilled employment in the nuclear sector. So I'm doing everything I can to showcase companies. I actually saw 𝗙𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗲, which is an engineering company based at Broughton, and they're looking to invest on the island with around sort of 200 highly skilled jobs in the engineering sector in North Wales. And I'm taking lots of companies around the island, GE, Hitachi, and companies like that. I'm doing everything that I can to bring new nuclear to 𝗙𝗲𝗲. I've just messaged number 10 to say that I'll be bobbing on 𝗙𝗲𝗲 tomorrow, and I've got a big report out with the Welsh Affairs Select Committee tomorrow. We've had so many meetings regarding 𝗙𝗲𝗲 and nuclear in North Wales, and that report will be out tomorrow. So in terms of any other questions, have you sort of said everything that you'd like to say, Ian?
I would, yeah. The only thing I would like to say is, and I genuinely believe this, I think there are exciting times ahead for Holyhead and for the Angle of Anglesey. I really, really believe that. I live in 𝗙𝗏𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗲. 𝗙𝗏𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗏 is smaller than Holyhead. It has had the similar kind of problems. And when you see the potential that the Freeport now offers, and I know people say, well, we've been there before and we've seen some ups and downs. Having seen the caliber of businesses that are approaching us and talking to us, and by the way, some of them I just can't talk about because I've signed NDAs, because we're getting into commercial discussions. So it is sensitive, but have faith, it will be delivered. There are exciting times ahead, and there needs to be. We need to offer hope to everyone on the island that there is a better future, without doubt. And I think this will be a catalyst.
And Ian, there's a couple more questions coming through. Ken Jones says, how can we ensure the 13,000 jobs are local folk and not people moving in? So initially in the near term, we've got 3,500 jobs forecast rising to 13,000. And I think a lot of that depends on the companies that are going to be investing. And you and I, we don't have a crystal ball, but I feel part of my role is ensuring that the Anglesey Freeport is a success. And in terms of the new jobs, I think it's important that we work with Coleg Menai, Group Clendyd and Menai, University, and even the primary schools, to ensure that we've got these companies that are looking to invest, but that we ensure that our young people have got the skills to take advantage of that. And then Stena is a fantastic employer. The bell is ringing, so I've got 8 minutes to hotfoot it to the chamber. So I'm going to just wind up here. But Stena Line is a fantastic employer. More jobs created are going to be created from Stena. And are you planning more ferry routes? Maybe bring back the route to Dunleary or possible newer ferries. Can you answer that quickly?
We're not planning any routes, but I would also like to say to people, to reassure people, and some people don't know this, we are a family-owned and operated company. Our owner, Dan, has very strong values when it comes to local employment and recruitment. He is a great believer in people, and he has a white book on the values of working with people. So even though we are a large company, we have very strong Swedish family values, and we bring those to our business. So please be assured we're do the best for the island.
Excellent. So before I put my trainers and hotfoot it to the chamber to vote, I would like to say thank you so much, Ian. It's just been an absolute pleasure to have you join us. Next week we've got Andrew Berry, who is the new nuclear minister. He's just a couple of offices down, and I'm going to be seeing him in a minute. And tomorrow is one of my favourite days. Here I've got the Welsh Affairs Select Committee, where we're going to be presenting our nuclear paper, and then we've got Prime Minister's questions, and then I always have a couple of constituents come and see me as well. I've got Sizewell C here, who I'll be seeing, and then I do a phone surgery. I do face-to-face surgeries on a Friday or a Saturday, and then I do phone surgeries every Wednesday night. Thursday we've got business questions here in the chamber. And I'd like to a big shout out to all of those who've been in touch to ask for my free Union Jack bunting. If you're a community group or a charity or an organisation that is doing an event for the coronation, there's events all over the island, and you'd like some free bunting, then please do get in touch. And if you'd like me to advertise your event, please do get in touch. And if you'd like me to pop along and support your event, again, please do get in touch. Either give me a call or drop me an email. So thank you so much, Ian. You have a lovely evening. And I'm going to pop off and vote now. Diolch yn fawr.
Well, bye-bye.